Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another day here of ORL action. Welcome to another round of the ORL Mobiuz Pro League Championship here in F1 2021, and today we are headed to another classic in F1. We are headed to Suzuka, great circuit. And Joanna, good evening. It's going to be a fun one. Last time around at Bahrain, we had an immense battle, and finally, Daniel Haddad's race win streak was finished with the victory from McLaren's Dani Bereznai. What do we have in store in terms of that battle for today? What do you think?
Good evening, Respa. Good evening, everybody. One of my favorite tracks in the calendar for tonight, so I'm quite looking forward to it. Indeed, Haddad's streak of wins was stopped, and what a fashion to have it stopped. I mean, um, just 51,000, if I'm not mistaken, separating both cars. What a drag race until the line. It wasn't the only one happening on that grid last week, so hopefully we'll have some of that close action again tonight. I'm actually quite looking forward to it.
Yeah, it was, as you can see, the results from that race. We had Dani Bereznai winning, getting himself on the top step of the podium for the first time this season. Daniel Haddad in P2. Domenico Lovece, he has been another driver who hasn't had the greatest of luck this season, and he grabs third spot. Samuel Bean, if I recall correctly, he started from further back in the order. Did he make... I don't recall him making Q3. He was either in the lowest half of the top 10 or in the top of the Q2 standings, not exactly sure, but he did also make a brilliant race to recover all the way to P4. Dario Emulo, just like Lovece, has had his fair share of bad luck, managed to grab P4, then Patrick Cruti, Ben Cesabo, then Bernardo Perez, Milan Mayer, the rookie or the debutee, got himself P8 on his debut, so great job from him. And Istvan Puki grabs the last of the points paying position, so it was a great race. Bahrain is always exciting, but Suzuka is a bit of a different beast. Also has its fair share of traps, especially the curbs in the first sector, but I think the approach to the race will be a bit different because, Joanna, last time around at Bahrain, especially at the front, everyone was waiting for the last corner or the last two laps for the drivers to make their moves, and that's when everything actually happened. At Suzuka, I'm not sure if the strategy will be the same. I think the different characteristics of the circuit will make us have action at the front from the get-go. What do you think?
Yeah, completely different tracks. In Bahrain, you have three straights. There are quite one just after another with an S between the main straight and the second DRS zone, and then the back straight with no DRS, but good enough so you can get close and use DRS on the two afterwards, and then you have the inside straight. So you don't have as many straights in Suzuka. You have quite a sequence of corners, very technical. Very, you have to be very precise on what on your movements. So I think you have a fair opportunity to overtake. Well, either on the back straight with the 130R. I can consider that a straight nowadays because they just do it on full throttle. Leclerc even does it with the hand on the mirror. So a good opportunity to get close to the car ahead, even maybe outbrake them. We have quite a few guys on our grid that like to brake really late. And then on the main straight, which is the only place where they can have a DRS zone, they can use the DRS system. So let's see. I think that using DRS and then trying to use the toughest part to overtake off the track from the beginning of turn one until the end of Spoon will be a good opportunity to try to get some advantage track-wise, and then try to avoid being vulnerable to the DRS as you would be in Bahrain last week.
So it's a different circuit. It's going to be an exciting one as well. Hopefully, we have some good action. Hopefully, it doesn't go into any kind of drama, as Suzuka has proven to have over the years in both virtual and real life F1. But it is a track where you really only have two spots for overtaking, either into turn one or into the hairpin, possibly as well into 130R or the last chicane. But I think actually the most difficult spot to overtake is actually turn one, because it isn't as steep of a braking zone. You don't brake as hard. So yeah,
have the maneuver finished before turn one for that to be possible.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be an interesting one. Of course, the first lap is always chaotic. Again, not many heavy braking zones, and the first corners are quite wide. You really only have the one optimal line, but you can share those corners, and no driver wants to be the one backing out, right? So it's going to be also a chaotic first lap. But of course, the drivers at this level, they know how to be aware of their surroundings, and hopefully we can get through without major incidents, and then we can get through to a great race. Just waiting a little bit longer for the signal for the start of qualifying, and yeah. So what do you think, Joanna, in terms of qualifying? Will it be Haddad again on pole?
I'm going to bet on Domenico Lovecchio. He's been trying really close. So just for a different bet, I'm not betting on either of the Danis, although we both know that they'll be very close, if not on pole. And yes, let's see if we have surprises on our pack. We have quite a few drivers that weren't here last week. So let's see what they can show us. And also, let's see. I'm betting that on the first lap we'll have quite a few pairs of drivers doing the first corner side by side. So hopefully it will all go well, let's put it that way, with no one crashing and no safety cars coming out on the first lap at least. But the possibility of it happening is real.
Yeah. So we. I'm going to bet on a front row lockout this time around, and I'm going to bet on Samuel Bean getting pole. He didn't have the greatest of qualifying performances in Bahrain, if I recall correctly, so I believe he is going to try and get some revenge. And
you're repeating your bet. You did that bet on the first round.
Yeah, on the first, but yeah, well, in the first round,
it didn't pan out.
It didn't pan out because it rained. And it wasn't Samuel Bean, was it not Baena that I was putting on pole?
No, you said you
said
talked
Bean.
about both Aston Martins.
Okay. So yeah, I'm repeating my bet anyways, and I'm betting on Bean to be on pole and Haddad's P2. I would put Lovecchio fourth with Beresnay in P3. Let's see how it turns out.
I'm actually quite curious as well to see how Patrick reacts. He had P5 in Canada, P2 in Belgium, and then P9. You can't call it a bad result, but it is for him. I'm sure. P9 in Netherlands and P6 in Bahrain. I'm betting he goes back to top 5 this week.
Yeah, okay. So it's of course tough to predict anything like this on such a tight field, but sometimes we just have to go for it, right? That's part of our job.
That's the spirit.
That's part of our job. I also would like to see what Codorningolo does. I believe he missed Bahrain. If I recall correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong on that. But I think Codorningolo wasn't present at Bahrain. I would like to see what he's able to achieve. Sven Zerner He was? I don't recall him. That's why
the last 3 races.
Okay.
He only missed Canada.
Did Zerner was the one maybe missing Bahrain?
Yes.
Yeah, it was. I was mistaken for Zerner. Yeah, Sven Zerner. Of course, he had a lot of trouble in Zandvoort. He suffered lots of disconnections in a row. He was never able to fight for a good result. He wasn't able to participate at Bahrain, so he's back, and I also see him as a possible contender. Let's see in how good of a form he could be. And the Mercedes drivers didn't get the best of results. A bit of unluckiness in the side of Patrick Cruti's teammates. Cruti got P6, but I'm sure they would like to get a stronger display this time around. So with that, I believe everything is ready in terms of the lobby, in the track side of affairs. Everything is ready, so let's go to the qualifying session for this Japanese Grand Prix. But with that, here we have then the Suzuka International Circuit, 5.8 kilometers of pure automobilistic history in display here today. The only figure of 8 track in the F1 calendar, and some of the most famous corners in the entirety of F1 are present on this mythical track. 16 turns, a lap record of about 1.5 minutes, and we are going to be paying a lot of attention to what the drivers can do this afternoon, especially considering that we only have one DRS zone. They need to use it to make it count and make the opportunities count and to make the maneuvers stick. Looking as well at the standings, we have Daniel Haddad in the lead of affairs with 93 points, exactly 40 points away from Dani Berezna. Samuel Bean in P3, followed by Patrick Kruti with 38 points, 1 point above Domenico Lovece as he closes the top 5. After that, we have Manolo Villar, Istvan Puki, Sven Zerner, Alvaro Carreton, and Alessio Di Capua completing the top 10. Looking at the constructor side of things, we have Aston Martin in the lead. The Silverstone-based squad has 135 points into their account, the only team to break into the triple digits. McLaren in P2 with 79 points, followed by Mercedes, Williams and Ferrari, who are tied with 43 points. After that, we have AlphaTauri P7, we have Red Bull Haas in P8 with exactly 8 points. Alfa Romeo only has a single point so far. Alpine still sits in last without any points on display for the time being. Let's see if that changes this afternoon, and we are going to get ourselves started then with our qualifying session for this Japanese Grand Prix. And we already have some action on the track at the moment. We already have a few cars out there on track. Joanna, what do you have to tell us about that? Joanna, you are muted.
Yeah, as usual. Sorry, guys. I'm quite curious to see what the guys that are running for racing for the first time tonight will be able to do. I know Villacampa is very experienced, but I think it's the first time he's racing with us this season. And also Krisman in the Haas. Let's see what the driver can show us tonight. In the meantime, we have our usual runs of medium and intermediate tires going around, putting some rubber on our track. Sven Zerner, the first driver on a flying lap, a bit of a dance with the curb on the exit of the second corner, and now this fantastic section we have some yellow flags, but I think nothing wrong with the AlphaTauri driver at the end of the third sector.
So let's see what the drivers can do from here on in. Of course, he's the first to get through sector 1, so it's purple for him, as we have one of the Aston Martins getting out of the way, and we're going to have to wait for the completion of that second sector. But yeah, Joanna, we have had, of course, our bets placed in terms of our drivers for the top 3 in this qualifying session, or at the end of Q3. But do you have anyone that you would like to see do better or are interested in regarding their past form? Do you see anyone that could possibly turn around their season today?
Well, their season is a difficult question to answer, not to ask, of course. Who I would like to see improving their qualifying form is Istvan Puki. He, fortunately for him, he has been able to get some points every single time. But the truth is that his less than perfect qualifying sessions have been costing him quite a lot of time in the race, because he has more overtaking to do. Not sure if that's the trick. He just wants to have some fun and overtake some guys. But I bet he wants the best possible result, and for that he needs to qualify better than he has been doing on the last few weeks. Let's see if he can reach qualifying 3 tonight.
Yeah, in the meantime, the field is chasing that 128.7 posted on mediums by Sven Zerner. He comes down now, and he is 5/10 off of that point. Alessio Di Capua coming up next, but he aborted this lap. That's a 138.8, something not exactly ideal went with Capua's lap. We do have one of the Haas coming through the line shortly, and it is Krisman. Let's see what he can achieve. P2, 129.0. After that, on the track, we have, I believe it is Moricon or Codorningolo. Yeah, it's Codorningolo, and the Williams is just about to complete the outlap. Is actually on intermediates, so there's another driver we have to wait for in terms of a competitive lap. Sven Zerner comes through with a second lap time. I don't think that was an improvement though, so still stands at 28.7. We do have Moricon now getting through the line to start his attempt. We also...
Puerto closing his lap on the Alfa Romeo, but...
Yeah, it was the outlap, yeah, as well.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was the outlap as well. Rookie is about to complete his flying lap, unless our graphics are trolling us a little bit. And he arrives into the 28th, and is the second one doing that. The number 21 of the Ferrari posts a 28.945. We have the McLaren of Sven Zerner. No, it's Beresnay starting his lap. We have as well Villacampa, I believe. No, it was Villacampa's teammate getting through the line, and we have Patrick Ruti arriving into P2, 128.8. Yeah, the lap times they're getting through a little bit slower because the drivers have, of course, a lot more time in a 3 segment qualifying format, but the times are coming, and we'll see how competitive they are at the end. Ben Szabo is about to complete his lap. Danny Beresnay is already midway through one of his, and he's posted purple in the first sector, Joanna.
Yeah, and Sven Zerner improves his time on the third attempt, 128.458 for the McLaren driver, doing a few laps in a row here. The German driver, but so far so good. So I guess he'll be happy with his times.
Exactly. Codorningolo goes into the pits. Alvaro Puerto will be wrapping up his lap soon. Didn't look like the fastest chicane there. Nonetheless, is going to set a lap time. Yeah, he did abort his attempt to 142.4 for him. But now, here comes the McLaren of Danny Beresnay. Has he aborted his lap, or is he in a lap of anger at the moment? We'll find out shortly. He comes over the line. P2 only about 2/10 off of his teammate, and in the background we saw Daniel Haddad starting his lap. So let's go on board with him, with our championship leader, as he gets through the first few corners. Starting now the slalom all the way up into turn 8 of Dunlop. A series of left and right corners. You really need to hook them up correctly in order to keep your rhythm and do a good time in the first sector. A bit of correction in the steering wheel by Haddad, getting through Dunlop, and now the first Degna just committed to the entry to maximize the speed. Purple first sector for the Aston Martin. Up through the gears, hard on the brakes into turn 10, the Kobayashi corner, as it has been coined after the 2010 Grand Prix, where Kobayashi overtook 5 different drivers in that same corner, in different laps, of course, not at the same time. But now another tricky corner, this double apex left-hander of Spoon. You need to be smooth on the power on the exit as well to maximize traction and the speed over this long stretch of tarmac. Getting through 130 yard, you need to trust your machine and have confidence in yourself. Throw the car in, hope it sticks on the other side, minimize the radius of the corner, hard on the brakes at the end of it, into the Casio triangle. Upshifting into 4th and 5th, try to control that rear end as he comes over the line, and it is P1 provisorily, 128.361 on the mediums for the Aston Martin driver, and he's looking to get revenge for what happened at Bahrain. Is looking to be those 51 thousandths of a second quicker. For the time being, it isn't enough, because Nardi Perez just dethroned him on the softs with a 128.1. We have Istvan Pukki coming through the line as well, but his lap was invalidated, unfortunately. Krisman,
yeah. At the end of the on the last chicane, so he's going for another attempt on the medium compound. Daniel Haddad had a very interesting session of analyzing what's happened wrong that cost him the race, and he commented that he wasn't expecting that on the last lap when he overtook him to answer so fast into the first corner. and he feels that that was where he lost that race. I'm sure he will try to. He has been using all that energy into practice this week, trying to regain that P1. Well, he still has it on the drivers, of course, but on track, I'm sure he wants that P1 back.
Yeah, exactly. In the meantime, we have one of the Mercedes about to wrap up their lap. Darn improved into a 28.4, so not too shabby from him, getting himself top 3 so far. We have Modestino Mena about to get through the last few corners of this circuit. Let's see what lap time he can achieve. It would be the first crack at it from the Mercedes driver. And he gets P6 right on the doorstep of the top 5 with a 28.6. We have Ben Cesabo pulled himself into the pits. Rookie is in P12, but his teammate Nikolovic, I believe, yeah, he was the one just starting his lap. Pablo Armengol is about to complete his attempt as well. Let's see what the Haas driver can achieve. And Joanna behind him, I believe is Alessio Di Capua, ready to complete another attempt.
I've been on board with one of your bets, Samuel Bean, just exit Spoon, getting a bit of a toe from Alvaro Puerto unintentionally, of course, into 130R, and now arriving at the last chicane, a bit of traffic. Let's see if it doesn't compromise his lap. He manages to not invalidate his lap, keeping to the right to get the fewer meters possible, and that's P3 for now, 1:28.207.
Yeah, exactly. Dominic Lovecha is coming up next. I believe he is the next driver to post a lap time. He does have a few drivers ahead of him on the track, but one of them is Berezny, about to start a lap. We also have Kruti, who managed to grab P13, and behind him is one of the Alpines. I believe it's Morichon, also completing his outlap. Yes, it is the Alpine driver. We have Domenico Lovecha now, the number 29, currently in 19th place. He would surely like to improve on that. He is going to set his first lap time. The lap is not invalidated, and it is P2, 28.033 on this soft compound of tires. And Joanna, we now have one of the Haas, I believe it is Armengol, about to complete a lap, Joanna.
Yeah, he already has one lap on those tires, so let's see. I think he's coming back to the pits, considering his delta. Yeah, exactly. Back to the pits for the Spanish driver, um, representing the American team.
Yeah.
There are quite a few Spanish drivers. Codor Ningolo also coming into the pits, and Alvaro Puerta, I think he's on a fast lap.
Yeah, we have Alvaro Puerto about to complete a lap. In front of him was Sven Zerner, but Zerner has invalidated his attempt. Let's see what Puerto can achieve, and it is straight into the top 5, 128.216. Behind him, we have one of the Aston Martins. It is Samuel Bean, but he's pulling off into the pits, and we have Dani Berezny now, about to complete his second attempt. Slower?
More than 4 tenths off on the second sector, but it's only P3 for him at the moment with a 128.041, but it's getting closer. It's getting closer in the front.
Yeah, Morichan pulls off into the pits. We have Pookie, I believe. Yes, it is Pookie who just started his attempt. He did invalidate the previous one. That's why he doesn't have any lap time on the table at the moment. And looking at the Ferrari, we have Lovecha, but I believe he's pulling off into the pits. Behind him on the track is Berezny, who's also pulling off into the pits. So it would be about the Alfa Romeos. Puerto is pulling off into the pits. Darn is on his outlap, so I believe it is actually Pookie, the only driver currently making a fast lap. Oh, but he invalidates on the transition between the first and second Degners. He invalidates, and qualifying isn't really... Yeah.
Very, very slightly off track completely and invalidated his lap. It's a shame because Istvan Pukki, the least thing he needed was to have such pressure on such an important lap as it will be his next one, because I don't think he'll have time to come into the pits and swap tires, so it will be a second attempt on the same set.
Ben Cesaba, in the meantime, Pookie's teammate grabs P8. He improves to a 28.2. The first two drivers have already retired from the session. Puerto is pulling off into the pits. Darn! He is the next driver to set the lap time, if I am looking at things correctly. So let's wait for any other movements on the board, but we're going to follow Darn through this lap. Gets himself through Dunlop. Up through the gears. Let's see what he can achieve. It did look to me like he was much more confident into Dunlop than Haddad's lap. And at that point, Haddad had gotten the fastest first sector. It is an improvement for Darn, but not purple for the time being. So let's see what he can achieve from here on in. Yellow flags in sector 2 and 1. But yeah, that's one of the McLarens that's just letting his rivals through. That's Sven Zerner. Possibly ran out of fuel, because I believe he did improve to P4 not too far away from now. Let's see. I believe he is pulling himself back into the pits. But darn, purple second sector. Of course, sometimes that information... Yeah, sometimes that information is not exactly true, but... Let's see if he can pull together a purple lap. He's coming over the line now. P9 and a very slight improvement, below a tenth of a second for an improvement for him. And now, Joanna, we have a torrent of drivers on the track at the moment.
I've been on board with this one, Pookie. He managed to keep the lap alive so far. Only the last chicane left for him. Manages to do the entry, manages to exit without invalidating, keeping it safe, as he doesn't have any other time, and that's a P2, so quite safe, I'd say, for the Red Bull driver.
Yeah. Now we have Javier Fernandez gets P12. Codorningolo. No, it wasn't Codorningolo. It was his teammates. Actually, I can't tell who is his teammate. It was one of the blue cars getting through the line. Meanwhile, we have Chrisman pulling himself into P15 as he comes over the line. Let's see how it goes for him. We also have Daniel Haddad, yeah. Let's see what he can achieve. He grabs himself pole once again. And Codorningolo is not able to improve. Modestino Mena gets himself P7. And after that, we have Samuel Bean about to complete his lap, but that one is invalidated. We have Patrick Cruti trying to avoid elimination, gets P3 with a 27.9. And now, Rookie is out on track. I'm not sure he's able to avoid being eliminated. Darn pulls off into the pits. I'm not sure if he is safe either, because we do have quite a few cars out there on the track. One of them is Villacampa, who I believe has already posted his lap time. He's pulling off into the pits, unless he's going in for a second lap. Now his battery charge is full. We're going...
Villacampa finishing up his lap. He's right now in P13.
But he's going into the pits. Yeah, he's pulling into pits. Yeah, let's see, of course, the remaining of the field, as we are following Codorningolo at the moment, but before him, we have Morichon. Yeah, we have Morichon completing the lap. Javier Fernandez is pulling off into the pits, so let's follow Morichon. He is using quite a bit of battery charge, so yeah, looks like he's going for it, trying to avoid elimination, but he does not do enough. He does not improve. Codorningolo is coming up next. Let's see what he can achieve. And it is P10. It's Pablo Armengol now the next to last driver. And he gets P19. Not enough to avoid getting eliminated. Rookie pulls off into the pits. And Chrisman as well. So I believe this is it, Shona.
Yeah. Darn is safe.
He gets through by what? 200ths of a second. Does Darn get away with it by... But yeah, we do have our session, our Q1 over. And we have Fernandez, Rookie, Chrisman, Armengol, and Morichon out in Q1, Joanna.
Yeah, quite a few Spanish with a tough beginning to the night. Let's see what they managed to recover in the race, knowing that it's not one of the easiest tracks to overtake, in my opinion. I mean, after Bahrain with all those traits, it's hard to say that it's easier to overtake. But yeah, a bit of tough luck for both Haas and I think both Alpine, um, and of course the Ferrari of El Rookie.
Yeah, I was getting some reports that the game audio was a little bit low. Give me more feedback now that I made some changes. So to see if everything is alright. We're just waiting for everyone to get back into the pits. I'm actually not sure who we are waiting for. Is it Patrick Crutty? Because he's in the pits, but we are waiting for him to retire or something. I believe Samuel Bean's car is being controlled by AI. So yeah, I think it was Crutty who was still active in the session, if I can say that. Daniel Leodar on promissory pole. Alessio Di Capua less than a tenth away from him. So also another possibly early contender for pole position. Let's see how things develop. But yeah, Fernandez, Rookie, Griezmann, Armengol and Morichon all out in Q1. Darn got through by 200ths of a second. He needs to perhaps do better, the Frenchman, if he wants to proceed into Q3. He was only 2 tenths off, about 2 tenths off, less than 2 tenths off of 10th place Nardi Perez lap time, that 28.1. It might be an even quicker time, the cutoff at the end of Q2, but we'll be here to figure that one out. Of course, the track evolution plays a part, so it's going to be interesting to see what drivers can hook it up at the end and those who will get invalidated. The clouds, Joanna, have rolled into the skies over Suzuka. Things are getting a little bit darker, as we can see over the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, I don't think it will affect qualifying session number 2, but let's see if we have rain for the third one.
Yeah, that would be an interesting one. We have drivers getting out there on track. We have action in the McLaren garage. As I believe that's Sven Zerner, once again being the first driver out there on the track. And he is on the soft tires, so it's actually not the first one.
I just have
it's
to
do
a small commentary. I'm sorry
Oh.
that I've just attributed two Spanish nationalities to a French guy and an Italian guy. But for me, Morichon is a Spanish name, sorry.
Okay. Well, correction.
Apologies for that. We have quite a few Spanishes passing to Q2, only 2 left. Exited at qualifying session number 1.
Yeah, so the Spaniards are still going strong in this qualifying session. Patrick Crutty is the first driver out there. The pole probably would have liked to do better at the end of the race at Bahrain. So we'll need to wait and see for what he can do in the sessions to come. Of course, the race is what gives us the points, and especially considering his teammate didn't have the best of races. He was the only one at the front in terms of the Mercedes team. Oh, and he just invalidated that lap. I'm not sure if he invalidated this and the next lap, as the game so much likes to do. Yeah, doesn't look like so. Yeah, looks like he is safe. So we'll have to wait and see for his lap time. And Joanna, anything after Q1? Of course, some competent drivers got knocked out in Q1. What do we have to say about those results?
Well, both our bets are still going on strong, so that's it for us. But regarding the guys that left at qualifying session number 1, let me just Darn just got through by
200s.
the smallest of margins. Javier Fernandez will be thinking that could have been his spot. He and Villacampa going out for the first time tonight Villacampa managing to pass to Q2, not the same luck for the driver representing Alpine tonight. El Rookie has shown us that he can be fast. He he has managed to grab, I think, 6 points in the first 4 rounds, with an 8th place in Canada and the 9th in Belgium. After a few, I think it was in Belgium, he had a few incidents with the Dani Berejnay. So yeah, that will be a difficult task for him. And then we have Pablo Armengol, who has also been going. He was in Canada and Belgium, but wasn't able to get the best of results. Let's see if he manages to improve this during our race.
Yeah, Codorningolo now getting to the line, grabs P2, his teammate, he has invalidated, but it was a 28.5, which would have gotten him in P2 at that point. Daniel Haddad, sorry, actually not Haddad, but Bean, his teammate, is about to wrap up his lap, and he gets pole with a 28.6. Up next is Alessio Di Capo, exactly. Let's see what the AlphaTauri driver can achieve. Is actually aborting this lap. He pulls off into the pits. Domenico Lovecchia is up next, but also with his lap invalidated. So now we have Alvaro Puerto. Yes, it is Puerto, the number 82 of the Switzerland-based Alfa Romeo. He also pulls off into the pits. And now is Daniel Haddad. A lot of drivers aborting their first attempts, especially the medium runners.
Well, not Daniel Haddad, who I think will be the next driver crossing the line. Let's see what if he's able to match his teammate or not. Quite in his first attempt. He stays to the right and gets pole position for now. 1:27.847 for the Italian. He's on fire, Ruben. He's on fire.
Yeah, he looks like he wants it bad enough, and he puts himself on pole, provisory pole once again. Of course, Q3 is where everything counts, but it is quite a margin to P2 at the moment. His teammate Nardi Perez invalidates his lap, goes into the pits. Samuel Bean is probably doing the same, and behind him we have Domenico Lovecchia, who at the moment he is going for it. Purple at the end of sector 2. Let's see. Nice exit out of the Casio triangle. Coming over the line. 21.8. Sorry, 128.3. I got dyslexic there for a second, unfortunately. 28.3 for the Italian driver in the Ferrari. And we have Modestinho Mena, who just started his lap.
We have Villacampa ahead, exiting Spoon.
And there's quite a lot of drivers in front of him. One of them is a McLaren, then it is Puerto, who is going for a second out lap, and then it is Haddad, who is probably pulling off into the pits. So let's see what Villacampa can achieve. Car looks stable and composed through the Casio triangle, crossing the line now, and P2 for him, 28.1, and Haddad is still clear of everyone, still the only driver to achieve 127. Alessio Di Capo is about to complete his first attempt in this Q2. He aborted the previous one. And behind him are the Red Bulls with Istvan Puki and Ben Szabo going for it. We have Sven Zerner also on the track. I believe he is the next one to complete the lap. No, that's actually Mena, who's currently 10th place without a time achieved in Q2 just yet. Looks like that is going to change. Lap is valid so far. And he's crossing over the line to post a 21. God damn it, I keep on saying 21. It's a 28.1. Very close there with Villacampa. And his teammate, Kruti, is about to wrap up his out lap. So we are going to jump into the McLaren of... it is Erner, exactly. Let's see what lap time he can achieve now.
Purple second sector. Let's see if it is real or not, manages to keep the lap valid. And
Yeah.
crosses over the line and goes to P2 with a 1:28.036.
Yeah, exactly. After that, we have Nardi Perez. Sorry, that's not Perez, that's his teammate, Coderningolo, who just started the lap. Alessio Di Capua is up next. Villacampa goes into the pits. There's Samuel Bean completing his outlap. That's not the greatest of timings for Alessio. Hopefully, he didn't get penalized by the presence of Samuel Bean. He gets P3, 28-0, and that P2 to P5 is very, very close. Ben Zabo grabs P2. Istvan Pukki has aborted his attempt, so now it's about Bereznai's lap. Let's see what he can do. P3, 28-0. Ben Zabo is the next driver to join Haddad in the 127s. But both McLarens, look at how close they are, Joanna.
Well, not only the McLarens, really. Alessio Di Capua is quite close to them as well. And the gap between Daniele and BenQ is quite small as well. So I'm looking forward for the next qualifying session. It should be very, very interesting.
Yeah, Q10, of course, when everyone is going to put all chips on the table. It is going to be fun to witness for sure. In the meantime, the pole grabs P3. Another driver joined the 127 club. 0.9 for him though. And on the track we have the McLarens pulling off into the pits. We have Alessio Di Capua perhaps, but I believe he is also going into the pits. Yes, not going particularly fast. His battery charge is also up there. But we do have Nardi Perez and his teammate, Coderningolo. Coderningolo, I believe, is trying to improve. Yeah, he aborted his attempt.
Yeah, he aborted.
So he's going for a second try. Nope. And he aborts that one as well. So let's follow Perez. I believe he's the next driver to post a lap time. He's still at Spoon. But he is the next driver to wrap up a lap. Rather, not much for a driver to do at this point, unless you find yourself to be Charles Leclerc. Before 130R, there's not much to do. And now hard on the brakes into the Casio Triangle, turns 14 and 15. Quite a lot of rotation in that rear of the Williams, and he aborts the attempt. Puts himself into the pits. Domenico Lovecchio is about to wrap up his outlap as the field still is chasing. Daniele Haddad
also closing his lap. He was taking more than 1/10 of his previous lap, so we wrap for something. 1:27.656. Again, statement after statement from the Italian driver. What a brilliant lap from Daniele.
Yeah, it's a pretty strong lap, of course. That's what the field is chasing now until the end of the session, unless someone comes and beats him. Darn, though, we'll have a chance at doing that. What?
I think at this moment they're running away from Samuel Bean or Álvaro Puerto more than trying to chase Daniele.
Well, yes, but the field is trailing that time in the sense that he is the leader still. So let's see how things develop, as Darn does have a chance at getting into Q3, especially if Pukki and Perez make some sort of mistake. They are leaving it to the last time of asking to post a lap time. Things haven't gone...
I'm getting used to Istvan Pukki doing that.
But yeah, things haven't gone exactly accordingly to plan for them, I am sure, as Darn, with quite a bit of rotation through the hairpin, he had to make a bit of correction in the steering wheel coming out of it. Now let's see how he keeps his car through Spoon. Bit of understeer, he clips the curb on the outside, gets a bit of understeer due to that. But let's see the quality of his sector number 2.
In the meantime, we missed Domenico Lovecchio jumping to P2 with a 1:27.772. Lots of 7 on that time. But yeah, what a good statement as well from the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Lovecchio, he has been able to put up the qualifying performances, but those haven't really translated into good results. Of course, Bahrain changed that. and possibly can make a good run of form using that as an impulse. Of course, now lots of drivers getting through. Villacampa starting his lap. Samuel Bean, sorry, that was Haddad pulling off into the pits. Bean is still just freshly out of the pits and about to wrap up a lap. We have possibly Perez. Let's take a look. Yes, it's Perez, but he's also on an out lap. So the next driver in a flying lap, I'm actually not sure because Lovecha is pulling off into the pits. Darn as well. It could be Mena. No, that's his teammate, Scruti. No, he's actually out on an out lap as well.
Mena, but he's the Mercedes behind.
Yeah, he is quite a ways away from wrapping up his lap, but yes, I believe he is the next one in a flying lap, or the first out of the current drivers on a flying lap in terms of track position. So let's see what the Mercedes driver does. And Joanna, what do you have about him on his history? About Mena.
Mena?
Yes.
I need to check in a second, sorry.
Yeah. As we are in the last few seconds of this second session of qualifying, let's see what Mena can achieve. He's coming over the line now, gets P5. Alessio Di Capo coming through next. Let's see how good of an answer he can pose. He grabs P2. Villacampa pulls off into the pits. It's Haddad, no, it's Samuel Bean going for a lap. Behind him is Istvan Puki, also just started a lap of his own. Just at the end of it, Dominic Lovecha has retired, Ben Sabo as well. It's now Nardi Perez coming through the line in the dying moments. Let's see about the quality of his only lapped time. No, he invalidates! Nardi Perez is out of this qualifying session, and that would have been a 28. Couldn't quite get the lap time there, but it would have been a decent lap for sure. Dani Beresnay gets P3. Nice improvement from him, 127.6. Good lap from him. Codorningolo is through now, but he also invalidates, so he is out. Alvaro Puerto also invalidates. After that, we have Patrick Cruti also invalidates, and Samuel Bean is the next driver. He hasn't invalidated. He's still up.
Istvan Puki also needs to put a time on the board. No invalidation so far. Let's see if he can beat the time from Villacampa. Considering your question about Mena, I haven't found any history on him because he's also doing his debut with us tonight.
Yeah, so another debut. We have 3, I believe, today.
Yes.
Samuel Bean, he grabs himself P3. Let's see Puki now coming over the line, and P4. So we have Darn and Villacampa knocked out in Q2 alongside Alvaro Puerto, Codorningolo and Nardi Perez, both Williams together in the field. Alvaro Puerto and Darn and Villacampa splitting them. And Sven Zerner gets through by just over a tenth of a second. Darn, he did post that 28.1 that was the cutoff for top 10 at the end of Q1, but unfortunately for him, that cutoff improved to a 21.0, so very close for Darn, but he is out of Q3. And now we are headed to the shootout. Joanna, we have the debutee, Modesto Mena, and the other debutees, I believe it was Villacampa. One of them got knocked out in P12, and we had another one, right?
One debutee staying in HQ, with Fernando staying in Q1, now Villacampa in Q2, and we have Mena going into Q3. Nice first race for him. Also very good last lap with no chance of mistakes from Istvan Puki, grabbing P4. 4 tenths separating from P1 to P10. Sven Turner can also breathe in relief because that was quite close for him. I'm sure he wasn't expecting it to be so close for him.
Yeah, exactly. He does need a good result to come back from the misfortunes at Zandvoort, and absence at Bahrain. So let's see what the German can achieve. Also, Kriesman is also another debutee, right? So we have 4 debutees today. If I recall correctly.
I might have it wrong with Javier.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, we do still have one of the debutees in each qualifying session.
Okay, so
we have 4 debutees, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So it's Fernandez, Kriesman, Villacampa, yeah, and Mena. So let's see what Mena can do. He's in the Mercedes. He of course has quite some shoes to fill, but he's doing well so far. Of course, not exactly sure if he still has anything else in the tank to provide in terms of lap time improvements in this Q3. But at the moment,
no rain, and the sandbags are finally off, so it's full power time. Let's see if they can beat the 27.6 of the second qualifying session. I'm quite curious to see what our drivers can achieve. It was less than 4 tenths, as I just mentioned, in the second qualifying session. So hopefully it will really be close among the guys.
Yeah, exactly. The top 5 was all within a tenth, I believe, as well. So I'm also interested to see what the lap time the drivers can do in the peak of track evolution here in Q3. If they can achieve the low 26s, we are going to find that one out. As you mentioned, the skies have cleared out a little bit. We still have clouds, but they don't look as threatening. And Joanna, I believe both our bets are still up in the air, right? Because we still have Loveche in, we still have both Aston Martins, we still have Bereznai. So let's see which one of us got it more right, if I can say that. And we have a Red Bull out on track.
No more right. There is no more right. You said both Aston Martins, and I said the Ferrari, so it can only be one of us.
No, but
either.
You said a front row lockout for Ferrari?
No, I said Domenico on pole. I didn't say anything about P2, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. We are still in a possibility of nailing both of our predictions, because Loveche is still in. Because what was your bet for the top 3?
My bet was Domenico on pole. Your bet was front row lockout for Aston Martin. We can't both have it.
No, I know, but we are still both with a chance to do it because they are still in Q3.
I'm pretty sure that Dani Bereznay is looking very eager to prove us both wrong.
Yeah. Surely. Of course, both McLarens could still be the ones coming through and
Imagine having Dani Bereznay on the grid and not betting on him, either of us.
Well, I mean, has he gotten any pole position? I don't recall Bereznay getting any pole position so far this season.
I think he got it.
I don't remember. Week. We need to check our notes.
He got it last week.
At Bahrain, I'm not sure. Nonetheless.
But well, since you bet on the first row lockout, I'm going to say that Dani is my second driver on the first row.
Yeah, of course. Our predictions are for the top 3. I actually predicted the top 4 with the front row lockout for the Aston Martin, followed by Bereznay in P3 and Loveche P4. So let's see how that one develops. For the time being, we have one of the Red Bulls with Ben Szabo. He's on the soft tires. And we are going to try and figure out if he's actually going to complete this lap, because these could very well be used tires that he's only using to get a bit more rubber on the track and to not lose his rhythm. Let's not forget Ben Szabo. He was quite a bit away. He was for quite a bit away from the track, because I believe he did 2 attempts and he retired from Q2 with about 5 minutes to go. So just trying to not let any rust settle in, perhaps. Let's see what he can achieve now. About to wrap up sector number 2. Zabo getting through 130R. Let's witness now the entry into the Casio triangle. Aggressive on the curbs. The car seemed to take it really nicely and is coming over the line. 28.0 for a first lap time. It is Patrick Kruti getting through next. After that we have Sven Zerner and then Mena. Patrick Kruti gets now P1 with a 27.9. Sven Zerner might have something to say about that, but not before the Alpha Tauri of Alessio Di Capua. He actually got his lap invalidated, I believe. Sven Zerner over the line now, P3, and Mena gets new P1, 127.681. And we have currently both Brackley constructed machines. In the top of the field, we have Samuel Bean, I believe. No, it's actually Haddad claiming P2. And we have Bereznai following him closely. Gets P3, 27.7. And the pack is really close at the moment. Istvan Pukki has invalidated his lap. Right behind him, we have the 29 of Domenico Lovece. And after that, we have Samuel Bean. Let's see what they can achieve. Domenico Lovece grabs provisory pole. Samuel Bean, he can put up his answer. Let's see how good of one it is. P4 with a 27.7. And Joanna. Round 1 is completed. Two drivers faltered, not able to post a lap time. What do you have to say about the lap times that have been displayed in this first round of laps?
I'm not sure about the hundreds and thousands of the lap in Q2, but I'm sure that if we haven't beat it, we are quite close to it.
1 second away.
And Modestino's time.
They are 1 second away, because if I recall correctly, a pole in Q2 was 26.6.
No, 27.6.
Was it 27.6? Okay.
Yeah, let me find that for you, but
then my memory is playing tricks on me. But nonetheless, Alessio Di Capua pulls off into the pits. Istvan Pukki is still out on track. And
5 we haven't yet beat it.
Okay. But it was a 28 still, right?
27.
Yeah, 27.
You really can't get the 27,
I can...
You were saying 21 in Q2, and now you're saying it's 28.
I can't get those 20s right today, unfortunately. Istvan Pukki also pulls off into the pits. And yeah, everyone is getting into the pits. So we have a few moments of wait. And Joanna, the Red Bulls finally have both cars in Q3. Looking at their history, they do have some solid results, but what could they have done if they're qualifying more consistently in the top 10? Checking our stats, Joanna, the performances of the Red Bull, they have scored points consistently, if I recall correctly, but I'm sure they would be up there for top 5s and podiums if qualifying was right.
Has achieved the podium in Canada,
yeah,
and not that far from it with the P4 in Belgium. BenQ wasn't with us in Canada, then got a P15 in Belgium, P10 Netherlands, P7 in Bahrain. So a bit of an improvement from one of the well, they are both Hungarians, but from BenQ. So I'm pretty sure that being Istvan Pukki's fan, it's not an easy life.
Yeah,
because, it's the third time in a row that the guy leaves it for the last attempt. It's not good for the faint of heart.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he achieved P4 at Belgium, but I recall that was an amazing recovery drive from him, because he started somewhere around 18th, and that was a masterclass from him. So, again, the Red Bulls really need to start getting their act together in qualifying. They have put both cars in the top 10.
So far.
Yes, they are doing the job so far. Of course, let's see if they invalidate or not, because Pukki has done it in the first attempt again. So they really need to sort those out. They need to maybe use this qualifying session and start getting a good form in qualifying from here on in, because they do need it in order to have more chances of better results, and they can't keep on relying on Istvan Puki's drives from the back. And even Ben says he has done the same, not to the same extent, but yeah, they've been fighting an uphill battle every single time, or most times this season. They need to put an end to that. They are doing a good job today to doing exactly that. Someone else who's looking, was looking to put some issues of the past behind is Sven Zerner. He aborted his first attempt with a 31.5. He needs to get it right now. The pressure is high for the German.
Well, it's high for everybody, but he has quite a few drivers in outlap ahead of him, so hopefully it won't be too much of a bother to him. At least this one, Puki, he managed to pass by with no issue. Let's hope it keeps it that way. A bit of a counter steer exiting the second egna, but arrives to the airpin quite safely. A bit of a counter steer again at the exit. He's clearly on the limits, knows. He has aborted it.
Yeah. So let's jump to Patrick Kruti. He is on the lap at the moment. Danny Bereznai. Yeah, purple first sector. Danny Bereznai also started a lap of his own at the moment. We'll jump to him in a second. Ooh, another hesitation. The airpin has caught out a few drivers. I've seen plenty of drivers counter steering on the exit of it. Oh, that's a shame for him. Best case scenario, he maintains that P5. I'm not sure if he's able to pull that off. His fate now is in the hands of the performances of the other drivers. So let's see now what Kruti can achieve. Behind Bereznai we have Lovece, current pole sitter, and after Lovece we have his fellow Italian Daniele Haddad. So let's see what Kruti does. He's coming over the line now. And he improves not enough to move past Bereznai. He improves by less than a tenth. 500ths of an improvement for the Mercedes driver. Up next we have Domenico Lovece, Danny Bereznai. He needs to go, and I'm not sure if he can pull it off. I think time has run out. So Bereznai, best case scenario, he gets P9 since Kruti is also wrapped up with his qualifying session. Domenico Lovece, let's see what he can achieve now. Can he improve on that 27.6? We'll find out the pace of his lap in a few meters as he arrives to the end of sector number 2. He's improving marginally, but still an improvement. And any of it is welcome for sure for the Italian. Hard on brakes into turns 14 and 15. Up to the gears now, through 16. He opens the RS, comes over the line, and it is an improvement, 27.5. Let's see the answer of Daniele Haddad now. His fellow Italian coming over the line, and he replies with a 27.4. Alessio Di Capo aborts his attempt. So best case scenario, it is a P8 for Bereznai. Istvan Puki gets through the line. No, not yet. Yes, it was Zabo. Maintains P6. Sven Zerner grabs P3. Let's see now Mena what he can achieve. Grabs P3 from the German, and Puki gets P5. After him, there's Bindo, and he is the one claiming the first place of the second row. And Kruti, unfortunately, wasn't able to put it together. And Joanna,
thank you, Domenico, for not letting Racebook win the bet.
It was very, very close. And yeah, I was putting them in a front row lockout with Lovece P4, Bereznai P3. Bereznai let me down, unfortunately. But yeah, still manages to get P7 from the mistakes of Ben Zabo. Well, not really the mistakes. Ben Zabo and Patrick Kruti, they improved, not by enough. Alessio Di Capo did abort his last lap.
Let me just say this. What a final sector from Daniele Haddad. He was not taking all that time when he crossed the end of the second sector right before the 130R corner with with an expression, because that's not really a corner nowadays, and he managed to grab all that time on the last chicane. So kudos to him, well done. Let's see if he manages to keep that position during the race.
Yeah, so just checking the sector times. Lovece didn't put his best lap together, and look at that, he lost at least a tenth to his best sector 2 in this last lap. That could have been pole for him. That was the difference between Lovece and Haddad. Lovece could have grabbed pole, but he didn't hook up his best sectors into a complete lap. And he's starting from P2. Skies still clear over Suzuka. Just waiting a few moments now for the drivers to do some last minute adjustments to their setups and of course define some adjustments as well to their race strategies if there are some to be made. And Joanna, it's going to be an interesting chase all the way down into turn 1.
Let's see if it stays dry the whole race. If it does, it will be interesting to see. I think most drivers outside of the top 10 might go for the medium compound. But maybe, then again, maybe some will try to go for the softer tire so they can try to get some positions in the beginning of the race. But yeah, everybody on the top 10 starting on the medium. And let's see if they manage to keep up with each other or if the dirt here does its work and manages to create some gaps between our drivers.
Yeah, well, of course, if the drivers are able to keep up with the leaders via DRS train, that will be quite interesting. But this track isn't quite like Bahrain or Spa, where I would say there's a bit more difficulty for the drivers to do the same. Patrick Ruti, speaking of difficulty, is going to start the race on ice-cold tires. We might see him drop quite a few places.
Hopefully not literally, because we've seen before some bugs where they started with minus 273 degrees. Hopefully it's only around 50.
That's different though, that's different. I don't think it was a bug, I think he just made some sort of mistake. And he's going to start on cold tires because he simply didn't get the chance to warm them up. So
yeah.
he's going to have some issues. Further back, Alessio Di Capua. Sorry, that's not Capua who's further back. That's Villacampa, who either found some issue as well, or just let the field through so he can have a bit more space to get himself ready for the race. We don't have
Dario Yemolo here tonight. He got his first, his first points and AlphaTauri's first points as well last time around. It's time that Alessio Di Capo does the same tonight. Let's see if he manages to grab those points.
Darn and Codornigolo also got disqualified from this formation lap, and they shouldn't be together on the track, but somehow they met and they've been teleported to the grid for contact, I assume, during the formation lap.
Only the formation lap, guys.
Yeah, exactly. So just waiting a few moments as the drivers are going to get themselves together before the start. And we are now having Villacampa as the last driver. Actually, Griezmann, perhaps? Yeah, Armengol is actually the last one, as he let the field go by as well. Just waiting for himself to get on his grid slot, and then the race directory to give us a signal to turn on the lights. And there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Japanese Grand Prix. Good start from Haddad and Lovece, and being a bit of chaos further back. I believe that is Ben Sazabo trying to capitalize on a slow start from someone else. I believe it was Mena. It's Haddad now in the lead from Lovece, then Bin, then Samuel Bin in P3, and there's contact, and Bin goes round. Samuel Bin goes round after contact from either Mena or the McLaren of Sven Zerner. Beresnay already in P5, getting past both Red Bulls. Alessio Di Capo in P8. Villacampa starts from P12, is already up to P9, and Preto grabs or wraps up the top 10 at the moment, with Darn on the top step, on the doorstep of the points, and Joanna Villacampa is the leader of the mediums, but is being challenged by Alvaro Perto around the outside of the airpin. Can he make it stick? He's going to have the slipstream from the Toro Rosso or the AlphaTauri getting through the run up to Spoon. Oh, there's contact! He goes wide, he touches the grass on the entry. Oh, Villacampa there causing contact. That could have ended way worse than it actually ended up being. Darn now gets a better exit, gets squeezed onto the grass, but nonetheless, Alvaro Perto right behind him. There's contact once again with Darn. Codorningolo could make up something off of this. Alvaro with a nice dive bomb. There's contact as well, but Darn saw it coming and manages to grab or to keep that P10. Patrick Ruti further back, overtaking Javier Fernandez into turn number 1. And Joanna from the get-go, plenty of action up and down the field. Samuel Bean gets a 5-second penalty directly for corner cutting, I assume, turn number 14.
And another 3 seconds also for the Aston Martin driver. I was on board with Patrick Ruti. As you mentioned, he just passed Javier Fernandez. He also passed Pablo Armengol because he dropped down to P16, 7 positions lost in the beginning of the race. More of a slow start for the the Mercedes driver. Not sure how much of that was on purpose, just trying to be safe, let the beginning madness pass and then attack position by position with his softer compound tires. Up to P13, passing Nardi Perez as well. Let's see how many positions he manages to recover, but bit of a messy start for him.
Yeah, of course, he did get difficulty, surely, putting the traction down due to the temperature of those tires. Now,
fair.
Yeah, now at the moment, Kriesman got overtaken by Rookie, and I'm not sure if there is contact from the rear by Morichon, but everything is still nice and dandy for the time being. Codorningolo putting the pressure on Alvaro Perto, but nothing to come from it just yet. As we start lap number 3, looks like everyone's pace has normalized a little bit, and we will need to check for mistakes from drivers to see any opportunities arise for them.
Quite funny to see both McLaren, both Red Bull, and both AlphaTauri drivers together on track.
And then the Alfa Romeos.
Sorry?
And then the Alfa Romeos.
And then the Alfa Romeos, right. I was only looking for the points giving positions, but that's true. So let's see if they will work together, especially the two AlphaTauris, as they are in different strategies. What will come of all this track togetherness, if we may say.
Yeah, exactly. In the meantime, Samuel Bean, he has a tough day ahead of him. He's really praying for a safety car at this point, I would say. Danny Balesny very close to Zerner, but for the time being, nothing to come from that just yet. And even despite having Darn and Kruti on soft tires, with medium runners in front of them, I haven't seen much action from them just yet, so they are not really able to capitalize on the rubber advantage, on the tire compound advantage that they have on those Pirellis. Darn, he is quite close to Villacampa, but not yet able to overtake.
Exactly. Villacampa also has Alessio Di Capo quite close, so he's been managing to keep his position. Which would be an advantage. I mean, considering that Alvaro Puerto behind his teammate Darn, it's the next one on the medium compound. So kudos for Villacampa for keeping up so far with his teammate. The longer it goes, the easier it will be for him, as the softer compound will degrade faster than the medium compound. In the meantime, we still have Dani Beresney quite close to his teammate, but now with Istvan Puki quite close as well. So if he blinks a bit too much, he'll probably be under attack from the Red Bull.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see as that one goes. For the time being, still peace amongst this pack. For the time being, after that chaotic start. Unfortunately, Samuel Bean got the shorter end of the stick. Nonetheless, let's see how well he can recover. Griezmann, the debutee, is really on the doorstep of losing the RS, but Patrick Rutte is looking to do something. He's alongside Codorlingolo, he backs out from it. I believe he was also the one posting the fastest lap, so he really pushed it, but wasn't able to capitalize or to convert that into a position gained. Who gains the position is Alexis Morichon over our debutee Marco Griezmann, but now due to that battle, Morichon needs to hurry up because he lost the RS to a rookie.
Yeah, Patrick Rutte continues quite close to Codorningolo. He was almost only 1 tenth behind him, but with that first sequence of corners, you always lose quite a bit of contact with the car ahead. Fortunately for him, not too much. But yeah, we still have what we call a DRS train until from P1 to P19. So let's see if we can get some differences in the next laps, or if we're going to have some overtaking happening due to the use of overtake. If you allow me this repetition, the battery energy might play a bit of an essential role here, but I don't think we'll have any overtakes unless someone makes a mistake so far.
Yeah, Griezmann is not really keeping up with Morichon. He's lost almost a second in this lap to the Alpine driver. Beresne was very, very close to Zerner before 130R, but looks like he lost a bit of time, so he's not really going for it at this point. Dorn still very, very close to Villacampa. Nothing to come from it just yet. And we can see Morichon has lost about 3-4 tenths in this early stage of lap number 6, and that's the difference between being in the train of the RS and not being in the train. Morichon next does a mistake, and that allows Griezmann to get closer. So Morichon not only lost out on the DRS, he also makes a mistake. Samuel Bean retires from the session after pulling off into the pits. Now getting into the airpin, Beresne did have a look at the outside of Sven Zerner, but didn't see any opportunity present itself. And Armengol, the other Haas, might be struggling because he's also very, very close to losing the RS from the debutee Javier Fernandez.
Yeah, well, Javier Fernandez gets his first penalty, and the first penalty on the grid tonight after Samuel Bean has retired. So a bit of bad luck for Javier Fernandez. That penalty might not be very handy to have at the end of the race. In the meantime, we still have Dani quite close to Sven Zerner. Not sure if they'll be using, if they are in contact or not, because I think we're having a bit of a weight game going on here. I wasn't expecting it in this track.
Well, the medium runners, of course,
from them I understand.
Yeah.
Not on the softer component.
Oh, and Alessio Di Capua has an off. I'm trying to figure it out where he is, and he has an off. He is in the wall. Doesn't look like he has damage on his front wing. But once again, the AlphaTauri drivers not having a fortunate afternoon, and now both Alfa Romeos are in the top 10, and another disaster for Alessio Di Capua.
Drive from Dani Beresne into the airpin on Sven Zerner. They go a bit side by side, but Zerner manages to keep the position. Not sure if he was trying to defend from Istvan Pukki or just finally trying to do something to overtake his teammate.
Yeah, not exactly sure. Of course, he needs to make some progress on the field, because of course Haddad is the championship leader. He wants to take points from the championship leader, so he needs to be right up with him. But at the moment, it's Lovece doing that job. Further back, Javier Fernandez lost contact with the top 13, So there's another group.
Into the pits.
Yeah, he goes into the pits and is trying to do the undercut, get some clean air, try to take advantage of that. Meanwhile, Rookie is very close to Armingol. Armingol does not have DRS. Yeah, Patrick Ruti also follows him. Rookie got the arrest from Armingol, but Armingol got the arrest from Fernandez, so nothing to come from this just yet. Domenico Lovece, the other Ferrari, still chasing Daniele Haddad. Not too much to come from it just yet. Ben Szabo and this Van Puki putting the pressure now on Sven Zerner. But we have another cut in the field. It's Alvaro Puerto, over a second behind Darn. He needs to hurry up. It's crucial for his strategy that he gets the arrest on Darn.
Yeah, again, not sure if they're in contact or not, but the 12 Romeos need to work a bit in tandem so they can protect those positions. Otherwise, if Codorningolo manages to pass Alvaro Puerto with the wear from the tires, Darn will be the next one.
Yeah, exactly. So let's see how this one goes. We could have a swap between Codorningolo and Alvaro Puerto, as the Williams are also close to each other. So it wasn't only the Alpha Tauris and the Alfa Romeos and the Red Bulls, it was also the Williams.
We have Daniele Haddad.
Oh, Fernandez is out! Fernandez is out! I cannot find out what happened, but Fernandez is out! Yeah, he's on the right side there of the chicane of the Casio Triangle, and he is out of the race. The debutee, he was doing a good performance. Unfortunately, it ends up sooner than expected. Going on board with Perezny, he jumps Mena. It does not get to Haddad, but he gets much closer than he was before. It does jump Mena and Zerner. So, undercuts excellently executed by the McLaren driver. And is now chasing Haddad. I am not sure if Lovece is going to lose that P2. Or possibly even come out of this further down the order. Because... yeah, exactly. Or even Pookie, because they are all benefiting now from the RS on this lap. And Domenico Lovece not only is losing out the pace on his tires, but he also does not have the RS. So, unless he's using his battery charge and giving it all on his in-lap, he could be facing some issues. He was on overtake mode all the way on the straight before 130R, so he's really giving it his all. Nonetheless, will it be enough? He's pulling off into the pits. Nardi Perez following Alvaro Puerto, who was overtaken finally by Codorningolo, and looks like he's going to try and pull the maneuver on the Alfa Romeo. Let's see how that one goes. Alvaro also gets the arrest, so nothing comes of that at the moment. Now let's see, when will Lovece join the field? He's coming out of the pits right now. Will he be at the back of this pack? It's going to be close into turn 1, and I believe Mena got the measure of him. Sven Zerner does not, but at this point Lovece is out of the top 3, or at least on paper. At the moment, Lovece lost out 2 positions with the overcut.
Yeah, the undercut is quite powerful here, as it is in most tracks. Let's see how Dani manages to hold onto his tires on the final laps. Let's see what happens in the meantime. Domenico Lovece almost got it handed to him with the yellow flag. Could have turned into a safety car, and that would have been perfect for him. But yeah, Daniele Haddad manages to answer to that in Perezny, keeping his position on track ahead of him. But well executed, as you mentioned, from the McLaren driver. Sven Zerner lost, I think, only 1 position in this, but
yeah, Zerner got jumped only by Perezny.
Passed him 3 positions, so he couldn't stop in the same lap as Dani Perezny. That was obvious. But yeah, a tough job ahead of him if he wants to podium tonight.
Yeah, exactly. He has to get past Loveche and then Mena at the very least. But still, composed job from the German on this race.
For a penalty.
Or a penalty, yeah. But yeah, still plenty of race to be done.
It's one thing that we didn't mention, that the penalties in this track are quite scary.
Yeah, exactly. There are a few instances where one instance of exceeding the track limits can convert directly into a penalty. So it's quite difficult to be disciplined around here. Nonetheless, following now with Alexei Marichon, who is pressurizing our debutee Marco Kriesman, who has already penalized, but he is quite lonely in this group, and he has clear track ahead of him, which for his aspirations is probably not ideal. Almost 4 seconds away from his teammate Pablo Armengol. Rookie is also in the same boat, as he has Armengol behind him, and he is quite a ways away.
In the meantime, we have Nardi Perez passing Codorningolo, his teammates, both still on the mediums they started the race with, but it's now P2 for Nardi Perez.
Yeah, Pablo Armengol. I was
going to say the Spanish driver, but they are both Spanish.
Yeah. Armengol also got very close to Rookie, but ran out of straight, so he couldn't quite overtake. Istvan Pukki glued to the back of Sven Zerner after the end of the start-finish straight at the beginning of lap 12. Oh, I wasn't sure if he was actually going to show himself into that right-hander. Could have gotten very badly. Could have gone very badly. Nonetheless, he manages to keep it together, still pressurizing Sven Zerner, just letting the German know that he is there, and if he slips up, the Red Bull is there to take his spot. That's probably the message from Pukki, showing his nose there. At the front is still Villacampa on his debut, doing a good job with the reverse strategy. He is leading the field at the moment.
It'll be interesting to see how the drivers that start on the softer compound will be able to pass through those that start on the medium compound, because we have Daniel Haddad almost getting into Alexis Morichon's rear end of the car, so only 2 seconds separating them.
Oh, Istvan Pukki misses that braking zone, almost collides with Sven Zerner, and Zerner, probably distracted by that, lost out a bit of ground to Loveche, and Loveche might put a maneuver on Mena. Mena is glued to Bereznai. Nothing come of that. How close are those three? You could literally cover them with a blanket. A big enough blanket, sure. Not a normal sized one, but you could cover them with a blanket. That's how close they are. Yes.
What we were talking about, 9 seconds for Istvan Pukki with one outing.
Yeah.
I had no warnings. I had just seen it. He had 0 warnings prior to that incident.
Yeah, there's a bit of an... It's as if the track limits, there's multiple off-track zones in terms of the code of the game, and they all trigger at the same time, giving you multiple warnings. It's quite bizarre, but yeah, Pukki goes off, gets 9 seconds of penalties for one mistake. That's unfortunate.
I'm sure the stewards will look at it at the end.
Yeah, he's probably going to take a look at that, yeah, to report it, and the stewards might have a look at that. But yeah, still keeping up with Sven Zerner. Nothing to come from this just yet, as the 3 cars ahead of him are quite equidistant at the moment, but the change is Daniel Haddad now has DRS over Alexis Morichon.
And Mena putting all the pressure into Bereznai. He was around 2/10, 1/10 on the braking zone for the last chicane. Then he managed to get a better exit out of it. But yeah, losing a bit of track gap to Daniel Haddad, still on the DRS, but a bit further now. Let's see how fast they can get rid. if I may say so, of these drivers that haven't stopped yet.
Yeah, so, well, Morichon, he was really putting the pressure on Kriesman. He was glued to his rear end at the end of that DRS zone. Unfortunately, he ran out of straight to overtake. It does go a little bit wide. Yeah.
Thing is, you have to be careful with them, not attack too much because they could ruin your race and you're fighting for a win. But at the same time, you have to be really careful because the guy behind might take advantage of that.
Yeah, and this is crucial for Haddad. He did overtake Morichon without losing too much time, and now there's a car between Bereznai and Morichon, and from here on in, Bereznai does need to go aggressive. He is already pulling himself alongside Morichon, and he's going to have to make it stick at 130R. Yes, he does. Now the ball is on Modesto Mena's side of things, because he needs to dispatch that Alpine as early as possible. Sven Zerner and Istvan Puki also come to blows, and there's an overtaking maneuver for the Red Bull, but now Daniel Haddad is all over the back of Kriesman. Is he going to overtake into turn 1? He's taking a look at it, he's going to the inside, and he makes the move stick, climbs up to P7, and now once again the pressure is on the side of Dani Bereznai. He's going to have dirty air, he's going to have a driver with much older tires in front of him. Daniel Haddad, if he nails this section, he could get a lot of time on his rivals, and look at that, he knew the importance of this section of the track, and that's exactly what he has done. Bereznai finally can get past the Haas before the darkness, but look at that, 8 tenths separating them, and crucially, Bereznai is still on the DRS zone of Haddad. Haddad did gain an advantage, but didn't prove to be enough, and Kriesman, he had to defend that one. Mena got aggressive on him, and now it's Lovece trying to get the measure of Alexei Morichon before Spoon. They are side by side, the Ferrari and the Alpine, and he gets the move done. Sven Zerner also got past Istvan Puki a while ago on that fight, because Puki and Zerner had a bit of a fight. Puki was momentarily ahead, but looks like that order has sorted itself out.
In the meantime, we have Domenico Lovecchio side by side with Marco Kriesman into the airpin, breaks a bit late on the inside, gets the position done before the chicane is completed. But crucially, he loses a lot of time to Modestinho Mena, so let's see if he can catch up. He's still in the DRS zone, so that's good for him.
Exactly, and Zerner now overtaking Morichon. Istvan Puki has to be patient. Oh, but he's actually going to be aggressive. Gets on the inside of Morichon. Not usually an overtaking spot, but he did do well to get through. With this,
he needs to get some time on his teammate because he has those penalties.
Yes.
Even though they might get removed, he should count with them, and then bless whatever comes from the stewards. So doing his best, trying to keep up with the cars ahead. And yeah, Kriesman will be the next car to overtake for Zerner and Puki. Let's see how much time they lose trying to pass him.
Yeah. With all of this is also very important for Ben Szabo, because before all of these battles, Szabo was 2 seconds away from this train, and he managed to get into the RS, so he gained over a second on this group. That's quite important for his race.
He also brought Patrick Rutik with him, so let's see what comes out of it.
Exactly, so those two drivers might have renewed chances of a good result. Codorningol and Alvaro Puerto are finally in the pits, and they're going to come out of the pits possibly in the middle of all of that chaos. Let's see how that one goes. Bereznai has done the job to get himself behind Haddad and to scrap for a possible race win, but now
they'll exit after all of it.
Yeah, they'll exit after all of it, but they will be on the softs. Not sure if they're going to be able to take advantage of that, but they are indeed quite a ways away, at least 5 seconds behind that group.
And crucially behind Darn.
Well, crucially in terms of the field, or in terms of the group of the leaders. But and Morichon
in the negative way for them.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm going to say. It's crucial for the leaders that those drivers on the softs came out behind Darn, because now they are going to have to be patient. Morichon had an off-track excursion, a mistake from him, unfortunately.
On the inside of Kriesman manages to get. Let's see if he well, they're still side by side, but I think, whoa, a bit of a contact there, or a squeeze at least. But Sven Zerner has the inside for the next corner and manages to grab P8, with still 3 cars ahead of him having to stop.
Exactly. In the meantime, Alvaro Puerto is behind Darn.
In the meantime, we have Istvan Puki going on Prisman as well, even before 130R.
Yeah. He gets the move down. Villacampa, the leader, goes into the pits. Darn, as expected, lost out quite a few places a moment ago. Krisman is doing the same. Ben Zabo is outside of the DRS range, and Krisman pulls off into the pits. Let's see where Villacampa will rejoin all of this. Behind Kruti. Will it be ahead of Codorningolo? No. It's actually behind Darn and behind Rookie. So Krisman and Morichon lost quite a bit of time with all of that. Morichon had that off-track excursion, so he's losing even more time than he has. But getting back at the front, Haddad, only 2 seconds away from Armengol. You can probably see him between corners. And Armengol is surely going into the pits soon. Villacampa quite lonely on the track. Yeah, exactly. Villacampa was the leader of the drivers in the reverse strategy. He is in P11. He has a penalty. And he is 2 seconds away from Kruti, who has Ben Zabo in front of him. So I'm not sure, even if Villacampa can get close to that duo battling for P9, I'm not sure if he's going to be able to overtake, because he will be the third driver in that rain. So Kruti will always have DRS, making it difficult for him to overtake.
In the meantime, we have Mena looking on the inside of Dani Bereznej. I'm not sure if there was a bit of contact on the braking zone between them, but still same positions for all of them. Sven Zerner getting a penalty. In the meantime, Dani Bereznej all coming to the right to defend and trying to take the DRS at the same time. Dani looking to the through the left on Daniel Haddad, but still managing all to keep the same positions.
Exactly, but as I did have a look at the inside and then at the outside of Haddad, but there was not space, there was not an opportunity in either side of the track, so he has to settle for P4 at the moment, as this group has gained half a second on Armengol in the previous lap, and Perez and Armengol didn't pit, so I'm not sure. They might, even if they lose a little bit of time getting overtaken by this group, they might be looking to extend a little bit this stint in order to still benefit from the arrest. They might lose a bit of time in the battle itself, but just like in the early part of the race, we had these drivers keep up with the soft runners because of the DRS. Yes.
This extra lap is good for Nardi and awful for Pablo, because Pablo is holding them and losing time for to Nardi. So Nardi will probably be able to get out of the pits closer to them.
Oh, but actually, he goes into the pits right now. In the meantime, Modestino Mena, he goes on and look at Bereznej. There's contact. Who can Lovece take advantage of all of this? No, he does not. He's too far away. Istvan Puki also glued to the rear of Sven Zerner. Puki could go for a maneuver. All action is kicking up loose at the moment. They are so close to each other. That goes to the inside. Mena as well. Bereznej can defend. Puki and Zerner shattered one. There is contact, but nothing overboard, and Zerner maintains P6.
Behind them, we had Patrick Kruti finally passing Bence Zabo. What a maneuver from the Mercedes driver, going up to P8, knowing that the two drivers have penalties.
Yeah, exactly. So, he is in a chance to... Of course, if he kept himself behind Zabo, Zabo could try to make a team maneuver and hold Kruti behind, in order to Puki not lose too much with the penalty. So it is important for Kruti to be ahead of the Red Bull.
Especially considering that the softer compound runners are right behind Bence at the moment in P10. Villacampa, whoa!
And Bereznej
almost loses the car.
Sorry, Bereznej lost a lot of positions. Dani Bereznej is in P7. We didn't catch what happened, but Bereznej went all the way down into P7, and there goes his chances of battling for the win. It's Haddad followed by Mena and Loveche. Pablo Armengol is still leading the field. Haddad is finally going to get the RS in this race. He hasn't had it for a while now. And Haddad is going to make it rather academic, won't he? He's going around the outside of the Azo, but there's contact. Armengol isn't giving it up too easily, despite being on a completely different strategy. Finally, oh, he actually goes off the track to avoid holding up anyone, really. But yeah, Armengol drops down to P4. Now it's Van Zerner catching up to him, and they are going to have to share this turn 8. That's not exactly the easiest of corners to share. And Zerner lost contact. He couldn't get past Armengol. He actually goes wide and goes into the wall. There's a crash, and he's out. The Germans' misfortunes do not stop. There's a safety car out there on the racetrack. It is deployed. And now, will our drivers make their way into brand new softs on the pits?
Well,
it is, especially for the drivers with penalties, this is quite a cruel state of affairs. But, yeah, Zerner is out at the exit of the first segment. Maybe I wasn't on board with him, but maybe he was caught out by how slow Armengol was due to his worn out tires.
this is perfect for Nadi Perez.
And this is perfect for Armengol, because if everyone pit stops for softs, Armengol is doing the same he's maintaining P4. Armengol could have saved this race with all of this. Let's see, will they go into the pits?
Oh,
yes, everyone. Loveche does not, but Armengol does.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh yeah.
Armengol had to. They didn't.
Yeah, they did not. It looked to me like they were going to, but looks like they baited me pretty hardcore there. The leaders do not pit. Armengol, he is respecting the delta. A lot of drivers,
Racebug,
yes.
We have some information here on our chat
Yes.
that the game, Berezna games will change to the desktop without he trying to. So
The game
that's how
minimized.
he lost the position. Yeah.
Okay, so he became an AI that for that second, and
Not a good race to become an AI.
yeah,
Neither a good spot.
yes. Especially it's such a tight field. That's so
Really
unfortunate.
for him.
Fortunate for Berezna, he at least got Sven Zerner out of the way, if I can say that, which, of course, not exactly ideal in terms of the racing product, but it is fortunate for him. That's just the nature of racing. Pablo Armengol is on the doorstep of the points, on the freshest tires on the field, with a few drivers ahead of him with penalties. This could be interesting. Very interesting, especially these drivers on brand new
just
softs.
stopped the lap before, so
Yes,
he's
exactly.
also in a very good position.
But Puerto, for example, and Codorning all of 4 laps on them, so it's going to be interesting. Alessio Di Capua, I don't believe he was lapped, so he's going to have a shot at bringing up the rear of the field. Alexis Morichon, he pitted, but he was already quite a few ways away because of a mistake he had in the first sector. So a couple of drivers, and even Bean, if he had just endured the race, he would be now in the field and with a chance to move up. So that's why you should never retire, but it is what it is, and we still have a couple more laps of safety car. I believe the safety car will be pulled off into the pits by the end of next lap, so we will resume the race at the beginning of lap 24 is what I expect to happen. And yeah, Armengol has a chance to promote himself a few places, the same as Perez, and of course this entire group of soft runners, as of, in some cases, some of these medium runners have 3 times the laps done on their tires than the soft runners. So it is quite interesting to see how all of this pans out.
I just hope that it's not a Canada 2.0.
2.0, a Canada 2.0. I don't think it will be, because of course there might be a lot of chaos at the restart, but
all those S's side by side.
yeah, but Canada has quite a lot of heavy braking zones. Japan does not. The braking zone into turn the first corner is a high-speed corner, medium to high-speed corner. Then you have a long sequence of those S's or the slalom, and you don't really have any space to stick your nose in unless someone does a mistake. And even if you do have
that, do the drivers remember that?
I
That's
mean,
the point.
of course, even the drivers who are feeling lots of grip from the fresh softs, yes, they can stick their nose in, but the gap is always going to close. The only chance you might have is at the hairpin. If you are really with a grip advantage, you can be more aggressive under braking, so you can try and make positions into turn 10 at the hairpin. Or the last chicane. Especially in these laps where you still don't have the RS. But, yeah, it's a difficult track to overtake. Or at least it has shown to us that it has been one throughout this race. Safety car in this lap is the information from the race director. That slows down the field, as he is entitled to do after the safety car leaves. He is now responsible for the pace of the field. Let's see how this one goes. Yeah. It just doesn't want to give an entire straight to his rivals, and he gets away with it. Green flag at Suzuka. Patrick Ruti and Villacampa, they are all so close to each other at the moment. Headed all the way into turn 1, a few cars side by side. It is Haddad from Mena, from Lovece, from Puki, then Iberesna, then Kruti with Villacampa around the outside. It's going to convert into this inside of the next corner, but Villacampa with the softs gets the move done. It does have the penalty, so it is crucial that Kruti makes his rivals lose time. Of course, he's only holding his position because he has the right to, but Villacampa could possibly take advantage of the tire performance between Kruti and everyone behind him to try to mitigate the effect of that penalty. Let's see how that one goes. Ben Sabo also very, very close to Armengol, who's putting the pressure on Alvaro Puerto. We have arrived to the hairpin, and we knew this was going to happen. Cordonengola being aggressive. Griezmann loses out to Zabocone, and we have the start of a 4-lap sprint race, Rana. It's going to be an exciting one.
It's going to be an exciting one, Racebook. We had Dani Bereznej and Istvan Puki really close to Domenico Lovece on the restart, but the Italian managed to keep his position. In the meantime, one more penalty for the Haas driver in P13. Let's see how it goes this time around. We have Mena putting a wheel side by side with Daniel Herrera, trying to get a better exit. Then the Aston Martin.
So there's chaos. Nardi Perez goes straight into the last chicane, just like we saw Puki, I believe, do a couple laps ago. Armengol has some difficulty putting the traction down. He's going to lose out to Alvaro and Ben Sabo, but he's not giving up. He has the ERS up to overtake. Got the slipstream from Alvaro Puerto. Woohoo! He gets squeezed, but he gets the move done. What a battle! And Ben Sabo has to lift off into turn number 3. What a scrap! But Armengol holds on to the points pink positions, Rana.
What a show of experience from Haddad. In the meantime, Mena putting his car side by side on the main straight with the Italian, but the Italian perfectly managing to keep up his position into turn 1, and then it's tough job to keep up side by side. So the Mercedes driver will have to try again when he goes back to the straight.
Oh, sorry, there's a lot of... Griezmann is in the wall. Griezmann is in the wall and his front wing is completely missing. I think they made it 3 wide. I was on board with Griezmann because I thought he was going to have a look at the outside of Bense, but I believe Darn was also having a look at the outside of Griezmann. And so they were 3 wide. I'm not sure what happened, but Griezmann spun to the right on a left-handed corner, so someone was touching him from behind or on the rear right
In the meantime,
quarter of the car.
Side by side with Mena on the last chicane, getting a better exit, and the Mercedes driver, he won't be able to.
And Rocky is out.
This time around, we have DRS enabled, but not for this lap, as the DRS range detection zone was before. But they'll keep the position so far, but really, really close the top 4. Top 5. Sorry. Let's see if there is any chance of them to change positions in the meantime.
Yeah, also we had Codorningolo have a look at Patrick Ruti, but he couldn't quite capitalize on the traction advantage just yet. Let's take a look at how things are going. Rookie had some kind of incident. He was also out at the chicane at the end of the previous lap. Let's see how this one goes. It's still Haddad in the lead. This could be a great opportunity for him to further extend his gap in the championship lead. He has currently, at the beginning of this race, or going into this race, he had a 40-point advantage over second placed Dani Berezhnai. So let's see how that one goes from here on in. Domenico Lovece putting or trying to put some pressure on Mena, but Istvan Puki is much closer behind him than he is to the car in front. And we are about to get into the last lap of the race. Let's see how this one goes. It's everyone is going to give it all now. And at the beginning of the DRS zone, Daniel Haddad got a bit of a gap. I'm not sure if Mena is going to be able to overtake, but Puki could put the pressure on Lovece. Beraznai could try to overtake Puki because he is mighty close. Patrick Ruti won't have DRS. He's going to get overtaken by Codorningolo and maybe by Puerto as well. Entering corner number 1. No changes apart from Ruti. Oh, but Lovece loses out to Puki. Lovece with a mistake coming out of the first corner, and Puki snaps the podium from him. Let's not forget Puki has 9 seconds of penalties, but he could dispute some of that time. I'm not sure if he's able to get it completely removed, but at least I would say that portion of that penalty he can at least protest about. So let's see how that one goes. Lovece could still be in a podium paying position, but for the time being on the track it's Puki in P3. Kruti did not get the DRS but managed to put up a masterclass of defending and kept his 7th place. Now Haddad is still in the lead and I don't think anyone has anything else in the tank. Ben Szabo is not giving up just yet. He had the look at 11th placed Darn. Didn't come to fruition. He has to settle for P12. Nardi Perez goes wide at the exit of Spoon, gets penalized. And further up ahead, Haddad.
Goal on Patrick Ruti, also side by side into the last chicane. But what a masterclass from the Mercedes driver. In the meantime, we have Daniel Haddad crossing the line, winning the Grand Prix with our debutant Modestinho Mena crossing right behind him. Domenico Lovece closing up the top 3. What an end of the race, Racebook.
Yeah, it was so close between Morichan and Darn that we don't have the time splitting them. Szabo was 8 thousandths of a second away from a points paying position, but and Puki goes all the way down to P13 again. He can probably protest that penalty as he only exceeded the tracks once, or at least up to that penalty he had only exceeded track limits that time. He didn't exceed them before, and he took avoiding action because he misjudged his braking point. So if he's going to get penalized for cutting that corner, I would say it should be the normal 3-second penalty. The game did penalize him multiple times, and that's why he gets 9 seconds. So I think at least 6 seconds he would have a case to protest. Not sure about the others. Nonetheless, once again, it's Daniel Haddad on the top step of the podium, Joanna.
Yeah, a familiar figure on the top step. I'd like to leave also a word to Patrick Ruti, who did a mighty job on these last few laps on the older medium compound tires with all those softer runners behind him. And man, I think he just lost the position at the end of the race, but well done from him. Dani Berezhnai, really unfortunate with the desktop incident. And then a fantastic first race for Mena. Domenico Lovece finishing on the podium as well. It was quite a race.
Yeah, it was quite a race. Berezhnai gets P4, then Alvaro Puerto on the Alfa Romeo in P5, then Armengol Villacampo. Patrick Ruti got overtaken at the end there, gets P8. Alexi Morichan P9, Darn gets P10, then Ben Szabo, Codorningolo, Istvan Puki, Alessio Di Capua, Nardi Perez, Marco Krisman. I believe, yeah, he was the last one finishing the race. Then Rookie, Zerner, Fernandez, and Bean all retired after collisions. So that's it for their races, and this is it for ours. Now we are going to get ourselves back to our commentary booth, and Joanna, an amazing race, just waiting for our drivers to join us for the interviews. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else we can say about that. Just simply an amazing race.
Indeed. Pablo Armengol having the luck of the safety car, managing to grab him a P6 at the end. Although we as we mentioned, we have the Pusky situation to see how it pans out with the pens, but still very fortunate for him, because with that late of a stop, he would definitely have fallen around 10 seconds behind Perez, as he was before Perez stopped. So very fortunate for him. But Daniel Haddad, I'm sure he'll be thrilled to have gone back to his winning ways.
Yeah, exactly. Of course, he didn't need this time around to be 51,000 quicker. Who needed to be a few thousand quicker was Ben Szabo. 8,000 of a second away from 10th place. Darn, that was really a drag race to the finish. A lot of stuff happened in that last lap in the midfield. So just plenty of action, of course. With the quality of this field, everyone tends to be grouped up. The DRS train tends to be immense, and everyone is just waiting for those last resources. Of course, with that safety car, a lot of drivers had an advantage in the tires, and they really tried to squeeze that advantage for all they could. For some, it worked out. For some, it didn't, unfortunately. But nonetheless, amazing action this afternoon. Just waiting for the drivers to join us. And while we wait, just getting a few words from our sponsors. We will be right back.
Yeah, yeah, we are, we are muted. God damn it! Yeah, we are muted. Sorry about that. We are back. Yeah. I need you to repeat, but I'm gonna to do the question again, and I'm going to ask you. Of course, looks like you managed to be those 51 thousandths of a second quicker this time around, so you get the win. What do you have to say about your performance this afternoon?
And not just the 51,000 faster, because what happened to Danny obviously gave me a bit of advantage at the end. So I think honestly at the end of the race would have been very complicated for me because Danny was managing ERS very well being behind. Yeah, while in Zandvoort the safety car has been a bit unlucky for me because we opened the race. Today in reality gave me the possibility of having full ERS for the last 4 or 5 laps, and so I was enough able to keep the position at the end of the race.
Yeah, exactly. So, of course, before these race weekends, you had a 40-point gap to second place Danny Perez, and you managed to extend it once again this afternoon. Does it leave you more comfortable for the rest of the season? Do you feel yourself like, I don't know, as if the pressure has eased off a little bit with such a margin added into the second half of the championship?
Yes, for sure. I mean, when you have an advantage that big, for sure you are a bit more relaxed. You know that you can make a mistake, but that's not my approach. My approach every race is trying to do my best and see where I can arrive. So the goal will be trying to do my best. If it is being P3 before P5, I will be happy to gain points. So we'll see. Race by race, we'll see where we are.
Yeah, okay. So, thank you for your words, and, well, congrats on another race win, Daniele.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much. Have a good evening.
Yeah, now we are going to speak to second place, Modesto Mena, and for that we are going to throw it once again to our resident Spanish speaker, going to Joana to interview our second place finisher today.
So first to Modesto. Buenas noches, Modesto. Bienvenido a las entrevistas. Para tu primera participación en ORL en este season, qué primera carrera, ¿no?
Hola, buenas. Sí, la verdad es que no esperaba para nada este resultado y ha sido un auténtico carrerón, la verdad.
Joana, tens...
Perdona. So I asked Modesto about his first race. He said he definitely did not expect this result, that it was an amazing race. Modesto, ¿qué te ocurrió en la cabeza conforme la carrera se pasaba y cuando te viste en la posición de poder luchar por un podio? O quizás por la victoria con Haddad.
Sí, la verdad que para empezar, en la cual me salió una muy buena vuelta. Conseguí meterme cuarto y en la carrera, la primera vuelta hubo un incidente con Samuel Bin y pude escalar a la tercera posición y a partir de ahí intenté seguir el grupo de Haddad y Domenico con el DRS y lo conseguí. Y con el paso de la vuelta ya me veía cada vez más capaz ¿no? de luchar por el podio por lo menos. Conseguí hacer el undercut a Domenico, pero al mismo tiempo me lo había hecho Dani Beresney una vuelta antes. Y la carrera siguió y conseguí aguantar el ritmo. Hasta que no sé qué pasó con Dani, que se le cayó la conexión o algo así. Y
Que el juego saltó para el ambiente de trabajo
ah,
de él.
mala suerte. Y conseguí ser segundo. Y en el último safety car intenté adelantar a Daniel, pero con solo una vuelta de DRS fue muy difícil, pero igualmente estoy muy contento con la segunda posición.
So Modestus, I asked him about the fight with Haddad, if he was expecting that coming into this race. He managed He says he managed P4 in the qualifying session. That an early incident with Sam Albin allowed him to jump to P3, try to follow the group that Haddad was leading. That Lovecha was also there with DRS, and with the laps passing, saw himself fighting for a podium. Did manage, sorry, to undercut Domenico Lovechi on the pits, and then he didn't quite know what happened with Berejnay, who was ahead of him at the time. But then unfortunately, Danny had a problem with his computer, and it was quite unlucky. Modesto, de aquí por delante, ¿qué esperas de tu participación en ORL?
Bueno, de momento soy reserva, pero si puedo correr la siguiente carrera y poder volver a estar en estas posiciones de arriba, pues terminar el campeonato de la mejor manera posible.
Okay, yeah. Go ahead.
Gracias, Modesto. Voy a traducir tu respuesta y gracias por venir a la cabina. Que puedas volver. So, Modesto saying that he is a reserve, so he's not sure if when he will be able to race again, but if he is able, he will definitely try to fight for similar positions. Let's see what our Spanish driver can do in the next opportunity. Thank you for coming by to our booth. Racebook, I'll leave you with the transmission.
Yeah, exactly. So, unfortunately, I don't think we have our third placed finisher available.
He's not feeling very well. So
okay.
All the best for Domenico.
Yeah, okay. So, nonetheless, congratulations for all of the podium finishers. And yeah, of course, another great race here today. And next week we are going to across the Pacific, and we are going to USA. So we are going to the circuit of the Americas. We are going to the Lone Star State, going to Austin, Texas, and of course it's going to be an exciting race as well. Also a very good track for racing, and yeah, the top, or the quality of the drivers is immense. The quality of the racetrack itself, it's also immense. So we have all the ingredients to make this a very special Grand Prix. So thank you to everyone who joined us in the broadcast today. This is Ruben Racebug Mania. Beside me in the booth we have Joana Gaunt Brito. Thank you so much to being a part of this once again. Hope to see you all next time, and have a wonderful day. Goodbye.